Okay, let's get started. Albert, you're back from Mexico? Is that good or bad? All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 10-Minute Trades Trade Room. We're here for core CPI. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes, and it is possible to lose money trading futures. All right, I want to remind everybody this is a tremendously volatile report. Very, very fast moving. So caution and being aware of what's going on is absolutely necessary. The last two reports have generated very unusual events during and after the trades. So, I mean, they've been very, very fast trades. I remember last month, a lot of people didn't get filled on the NQ. That's how fast it was. So it's probably recommended to trade one instrument, not get fancy on this trade because of the potential speed of the event after the news is released. So why is it that way? It's that way because it's a price-oriented, inflation-oriented report. And inflation is on the markets, the mind of the markets now. It doesn't stay that way forever, but it is right now. So that's one of the reasons this report's been very fast moving. This is June. Gold on the left, NQ on the right. See how quick that was? That's a fast move. That's actually a perfectly fast move. You can see it draw the candle. When you can't see the candle being drawn, when all of a sudden the candle just shows up, that's a nanosecond trade. And this was close, but you can see the candle being drawn. But the first half of that candle is pretty fast. It's pretty fast. And you could see that the fill is down past that first half of the candle. So June was pretty quick. July and August were even faster. They were nanosecond trades. May. So I'm going to do something different today. I might regret it, but I might not. So this was May. May looks almost exactly like June. Very fast again. NQ, and NQ, I don't have to tell you, is very fast also. NQ was so fast last month, people didn't get filled. Not everybody, but quite a few people, the trade didn't trigger. That's pretty rare. It's pretty rare. But we're seeing, in general, very fast markets. Very fast markets sometimes create errors because software can't keep up with the markets. So it's something to be aware of. And then let's look at April. April was way more normal of a response. That's more normal. In other words, it kind of jerked around a little bit. Watch that. It was moving up at the time of the report, and then it moved up a little bit, but we have a big bracket, or a decent sized bracket. It's not big on gold, but it's big enough that it should protect from a little bit of movement either way. So that was a pretty normal style move. So a lot of volatility in gold before the trade this morning. I'm just changing my bonds to ticks. That's all I'm doing. So I'm leaning towards, I've been testing bonds on this report. I'm seriously considering trading ZN as my second instrument because the testing's been really good. And the NQ is so fast and volatile. So here's bonds. I tested bonds last month. And it has a very nice move. Quick reverse, but hits targets and goes quite a bit past the targets. And then I tested July. Nice move also. And then I tested June. And it was a little bit trickier in June. It didn't hit the third target. And that will happen. You're not always going to hit your third target. It's asking a lot to expect it to hit the third target all the time. So you want to protect, especially with bonds, you want to protect your profit if you hit your first two targets, especially. But it just couldn't quite get down to that third target. So you could see bonds, they're just a little bit mellower than some of the other moves. Gold is moving like crazy. It's an 8 bracket for gold. Let me double check. It's whatever the DMM says. I don't do anything on this particular report. I use the DMM for gold. It's set up for gold. I'm pretty sure it's an 8. Yeah, it's an 8 bracket. So the daily report is an 8 bracket, targets of 5 and 12, and a stop of 12. I've been using three positions on this report. And this is a report that it really started trading well in January, or not so much in January, but after 2020. 2020, we weren't trading it. Years ago, it used to trade with retail. It used to trade with retail. I don't know what DMM you're looking at, Mark, but my DMM says 8. What DMM are you looking at? You could see it right here. It says 8. What DMM do you have? Tuesday, 9/14. Bracket is 8, and it is 8. Let me check the site real quick. I posted them, and I checked it also. Let me double check and see if it's something on the website real quick. Give me a second, I'll tell you in 1 second. So download the DMM, and it's labeled correctly. It hasn't downloaded yet. It is the correct DMM for me, Mark. It's the correct DMM for me. That's my download. Clear your cache. Use a different browser, maybe. And get it the day before, not 10 minutes before the trade. I don't know how many times I got to tell everybody that. Get that DMM the day before. If there's an issue, you can send me an email, right? Don't wait till the last second. Every now and then I'll post the wrong DMM. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I've had it happen where if I don't clear my cache, sometimes when my boss sends me the DMM, I get seemingly the wrong DMM. It's really strange. Strange things happen. But I make a blanket statement right here, right now. You know, in all the presentations I give, one of the big things we sell is the fact that you know the setup the day before. So get that DMM the day before. No surprises. And test a couple of trades. Why not? Why not? So what I'm going to do, and I haven't been trading 2 instruments at the same time anyway, but I'm going to test ZN Live. I think it's been trading great. And look, it could cost me my profits, but I like the way it's trading. It's been safe. And I'm going to trade 3 contracts. And I feel if somebody wants to trade more safely, they could try this and just trade 2 contracts because it's not very high risk if you do 2 contracts. I'm looking at 4, 7, and 11 on my targets, and my stop is 8. Bonds are very thick, so even in a fast trade, they tend to be much more liquid, which means generally better fills, generally less whipping around. The key is you got to get a good move, though. Sometimes bonds won't give you a good move on a report that they're not necessarily trading on, but the testing is very good on bonds on this report. And NQ is very challenging. I know that people are trading it. NQ is a very difficult instrument to trade on news. It really is. So I'm using a bracket of 4 on ZN, 3 targets, 4, 7, and 11, with a stop of 8 and an entry of 59. And I'm trading it. I'm testing it. If I lose, then I'm going to lose. Now, what I'd really like to do, I may have to move my news off the screen because I need the whole chart. I like the whole chart. Let me record. I'm using a bracket of 4, Albert. Now, you know, if you're on a test, you could do sim. You don't have to trade live because this is a test. Now, on the regular gold setup, the DMM is the way that I do it. And the NQ with a 15 tick bracket has been very viable. It's been working. It's not that it hasn't been working, but it's very fast moving. And like I said, some folks didn't get filled last month. That can happen. It could happen on anything. So gold is an 8 bracket. And I use 3 positions on gold. And don't forget margin, okay? Gold margin is at least 2,000 per contract. Don't forget you have to have enough money in your account to trade the contracts you want to trade. So I trade 6, 9, and 15 on gold in my targets. It's a bracket of 8. The stop is 12. And the entry is 59. What I might do is just shrink my bond target, my third target, by 1 to a 10, because I don't want to, if there's a decent move, I don't want to have to manage it. I want it to just take me out of the trade. If it's a troublesome, difficult trade, then I'm in trouble anyways, so I'll have to manage. But if it's just a good move, I just want it to take me out. And Ken is the better third target on bonds over the past 3 or 4 months. So gold, our targets are 5 and 12. And I'm using 3 positions, so I go in between. So I'm actually doing 6, 9, and 15, which is close to it. And everyone should actually choose slightly different targets. If you do exactly what I do, it's going to make it harder for us to have successful trades because there's so many doing this now. You should use a target of 5, a target of 11. You should not do the exact same thing that I do on targets. And ZN, Jeff, I'm doing a bracket of 4. I'm going to go back to ZN because I'm going to modify it. So gold is a bracket of 8 with the DMM, 59 entry, targets of 5 and 12 with a stop of 12. I like 3 positions on gold in this trade. I'm doing 6, 9, and 15. Could probably do 6, 10, and 15. It's a pretty big mover. So keep it at 9. Okay, don't do what I'm doing. And the entry is 59. It's a breakout. Checking my sync. By going to the website time.is, which puts me in sync. So there's a lot of people watching us on YouTube, and we only have one like. Could you give us a couple of likes over there? It would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. It really would help us out. So that's my gold. Gold is ready. I need to just turn up my financial juice sound a little bit. So bonds, I'm using a bracket of 4. I'm using targets of 4, 7, and 10. My stop is 8, and the entry is 59. All right, so we still have a fair amount of time. Gold's opening now. It opens at 8:20. It's like the old days when there used to be a pit. You know, I think there's still a bond pit. Bonds open at 8:20 also. And I think there's still a, I don't know if there's a bond pit anymore. I know there's I shouldn't say I know. I don't even know what pits are left anymore. I think there's an S&P pit. Beyond that, I don't even know what pits are left. There's no oil pit anymore. I don't believe there's a gold pit anymore. '59 mark, yep. I don't know the real reason why they got rid of the pits. It goes way before the world crisis, so it has nothing to do with what's going on in the world. But there used to be pits for everything, and there used to be trades around the pits also. In other words, you had a gold pit, you had the oil pit, the S&P pit. What other pits were there? I know there were more. I can't. The oil was a big one. That 9 o'clock oil pit trade was a really popular trade for many, many years. It was really popular. There were a lot of trade rooms that people subscribed to just to trade that oil open. That was a really good trade. It's a bracket of 4. Entry time of 59. And targets, I'm using 4, 7, and 10. Entry time 59. So gold, when I got here a little bit early. I was watching gold at like 8 o'clock. It was really crazy. I'm not crazy. It was just very, The markets were moving down, including I had the ES on, and gold was moving in step with the ES, which is kind of, it is strange because, I mean, it's not strange anymore, but it used to be that gold would move the opposite direction. It did not move the same direction most of the time as the regular markets. Gold changed. Now, one day it'll probably go back. It'll probably go back. It's an 8, Ian. AM, an 8. You could use 8 to 10. Mark, it's theoretically a 20-second cancel, this trade. I think for me, this trade probably is a fast cancel. I don't think cancel will even come up. I really don't think it'll come up, Mark. This trade fills. I would be shocked if this trade didn't fill. I mean, it's just I can't recall it ever not filling. The official cancel is 20 seconds. But, cancels have been a real issue this year or for the past 18 months. And they've been an issue because news has been released more haphazardly over the past 18 months. There was a time when the release of information was 100% reliable. It was 100% reliable. I shouldn't say 100%. No, let's say 90%. It was 90% reliable. And now it's not. It's just reports are late. When there's multiple reports, they rarely release at the same time together. It's definitely gotten more challenging just to get the results. So I spent the whole afternoon at the eye doctor yesterday. If you ever go to the eye doctor, it's really an experience. They blind you essentially. Don't ever drive to the eye doctor because you can't drive home. They put that stuff in your eyes. They dilate your pupils so they could look in the back of your eyes, and you can't see a thing. I couldn't order an Uber because I couldn't see. I thought I was going to have to walk home. It's like I've had a month where every part of my body's been bothering me. My eyes were bothering me. My back is killing me. It's like my whole body's falling apart. My ears were bothering me. It's like incredible. The only thing that's not bothering me is my nose. Welcome to old age. I don't even know so much that it's age related. In all seriousness, it's just, I don't know. Things were just bugging me. My eyes were like so tired. And it just turned out I was wearing the wrong glasses. That's all it was. I was wearing the wrong glasses. So stupid. But I spend my whole day, I mean, I spend way too much time on the computer. Day and night, day and night on the computer. And if ever I would not be allowed to use the computer, it's like I use earbuds, wireless earbuds nonstop. If someone told me you cannot use wireless earbuds anymore in your life, I just couldn't live that way. I just like them so much. All right, we got 30 seconds. So my gold, I'm hoping it goes down because I'm in short. It gave me my bonds. I need price to go down. I'm in a short, and I don't know that it's going to. I'm going to have to close this out. I don't think I can trust the short. Not sure. I don't think so. I don't think so. I was worried that this trade was so fast. If it'll go down, I'm watching it go down, but I'm worried it's going to keep going up. It's struggling to go down. It's struggling to go down. It's moving. It's moving. It's moving. So I'm not staying in this trade. So that was pretty disastrous, which was worried me about this trade. A very, very insane move. A very, very worrisome, insane move. It's very, 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 very volatile, this report. Very volatile. I was hoping that bonds would do better. And it didn't. Now look, watch it go down now. Watch it go down. So that's a shame. That's a shame. That was a very, very painful trade for me. Very painful trade. And it's a trade that maybe it's now become too fast. It may be too fast. It may only be able to be traded with bonds, because that was the fastest whipsaw I've ever seen, maybe in my life on gold. I don't know that I've ever seen a faster whipsaw. If you look at the video, if we look at the video, it was just unbelievably two direction. It whipsawed so fast. And I mean, we've had six CPI winners in a row. And this was a painful, painful trade. Look at the video. Look how fast it whipped. Let me just render this. I want to look at NQ. I don't want to change my charts live. Let me remove my trades. So it's unbelievable. Some people made money and a lot of people lost money. Albert, bonds did not work. Paul, it's incredible. Like 30% of people made money and 60% lost. And it's NQ worked, Calvin. NQ worked naturally, you know, always when you try something different. I mean, bonds had been so safe on this report. Joshua, what'd you trade? So here's the video. Now what I saw happen was gold went short and then burst up and stopped me out and went short. The first move was short. Yeah, look at that. So it goes down and then shoots up. It cannot find the stop because the move was so unbelievably fast. And the move, in theory, if you look at the news was all negative. Down was probably the right move. And it looks like bonds did the same thing. Or let's see what bonds did. for me. So bonds, bonds went up. It looked like they went the right direction, or they went one direction and then reversed and stopped out. So bonds did not hit any targets, it looks like. They didn't hit any targets. So everything was just it was just a whipsaw. AM, I think that's my first bond trade that hasn't made money. Well, no, not there's been some auctions that haven't made money. So look, if obviously what's bad about what happened here is it filled people that lost. I don't know how anybody could have made money on that trade. I just don't know how it would have been possible unless targets were really small. Let me watch again and see what actually happened here. Gold clearly moves so fast to the downside. And then I believe it stopped me on that burst up. It's so fast. It almost looks like you can't tell. I can't tell. It didn't hit the targets. And bonds were positive. So it looks like they were trying to hit that first target. And because the screen is shrunk also, it's hard to see. And it did not fill my targets. Bond, I was in the market with 3, and it never filled. It touched, I could see that it touched my target and didn't fill. I can see it touched it right there. Just barely touched it. Yeah, when GC tried to close the trade, Chantal, that's what happened. That's what happened. My trade got stopped, and then because it can't find the stop. But it was so fast. And I was honestly, I was concerned about the speed of this trade because we've been seeing it. This is the 3rd month in a row that it's been so fast that it may be that gold should not be used for a couple of months. Bonds didn't work, but it might really be just some bad luck on bonds today. I think that bonds might be a better, safer trade for a couple of months, and the NQ, ironically, it looks like the NQ moved in one direction. Yeah, Jeff, it was that kind of trade. It was that kind of trade where it was absolutely impossible to tell what was going on. These markets have been ultra fast. This report has been, out of all of them, it's been the fastest. It's been the fastest. But what I was looking for was a more stable move from bonds, which the behavior over the past 3 months in a row was much more stable. And today was just, if you look at the news result, I think that one of the problems is that the results were so close. It's almost matching news. In other words, one of the results is exactly matching. One of the results is 0.1 versus 0.3, which is not very big. Prices increased less than expected. And I'm really just reaching for straws because it was just an irrational response. Irrational response. I mean, sometimes the ES is good, Jody, but ES in general, we just don't trade it. It just hasn't been reliable enough. And it may be that right now the ES is working on this trade. It's possible. It's possible. But so in retrospect, I'm thinking that if we want to fix this trade, I think NQ and bonds might be the way to look at this trade. The last 3 months on gold have now been very so fast that the trades haven't worked properly. The last 2 months before this were profitable with wild outcomes. That's the best I can explain. But this trade, well, I had 2 instruments that didn't work. So I got stopped on gold and I got stopped on bonds. So that's, and obviously I accept that because I was looking for a better trade on bonds to offset gold if there was a problem with gold. I certainly wasn't anticipating that I'd get stopped on both. But that trade was so fast. I mean, that's the reason that it's chaos. It's the speed. It's the speed. So we got some work to do to make some money back for this next couple of trades. The thing you got to do is, I mean, for me, when I have a trade like this, I just will still trade normally. I mean, the next trade is API. I'm just not going to change the way I trade it. I'm going to trade it completely normally. Every trade that I trade, I'll still trade completely normally. I have to accept my decisions and just keep moving. But it's horrible when I hate when trades like this happen. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. What's wild is a fair amount of people made money. That's what's so it's hard to believe. Paul had his targets hit. So Paul, I'm assuming your targets were hit on the short side. So people that got very good fills on gold were probably filled on the short side because the first move was short. That's my guess. And they did not have huge targets and somehow got a good fill. So I'm just looking through, and Calvin says NQ worked, and you look at the NQ chart, NQ last month didn't fill. It didn't fill. So my gut feeling is, even though bonds didn't work this month, I think bonds didn't work just because they didn't work. I don't think that bonds, I mean, if you look at the way that bonds traded, I think they just didn't work. It wasn't so much that it was, let's watch the entry on bonds. See, bonds, everything they did was reasonably normal, except it didn't work. I mean, I would totally call that a normal bond trade. It was fast, so it filled towards the top. That's what hurt with bonds. It filled towards the top. The fills weren't good. But when you look at, well, was it normal, a trade that if the setup is good, I don't think there was anything wrong with the setup necessarily. I think it was just also very fast, and it didn't follow through. And ironically, NQ worked, so I think what I'll do going forward is keep the NQ, maybe discuss with my boss about the problems with gold, and we can watch gold for the next couple of months, but it's been problematic for 3 reports now. And that's all that I normally would allow for an index. But that's frustrating. So we'll be back here at 4 o'clock for API. So we'll be back here at 4 o'clock for API. All right, so any questions? I mean, does everybody understand what happened? What happened is the trade was so fast that the software can't keep up. And sometimes you get lucky, your targets get filled and hit, and you get taken out. Sometimes what happens is that an error gets generated and the platform tries to shut down. But when a move is that fast, it almost always creates chaos. And believe me, I'm as frustrated as everybody is frustrated who lost money. And these markets are very, very fast. They're very fast. We're seeing it over and over. We're seeing it over and over. Very quick. Some reports are just very, very quick. And I think part of the issue too was the news result. Very close to matching is what I'm thinking. Close to matching. And the markets, the indexes react in a strange way when the news is close to matching. It happens a lot. Happens a lot. Now, of course, you could drive yourself crazy and say, oh, I should have traded the NQ. I should have traded the NQ. NQ was very difficult last month. So you just don't know. You don't know. You try to do the best. You try to make the best decisions you can. It doesn't always work. Doesn't always work. All right, I'll see everybody at 4 o'clock for our next trade. Okay, 4 o'clock. So I'll see everybody later.